The LED light that I purchased is this one, CN-160 from Amazon, and this light is, I thought it was pretty inexpensive. I think I paid $25. Here's the light. It has a dimmer on the side and have a couple of accessories to help you connect various sizes of batteries. For example, here you can remove this adapter and place a different size of battery. Actually, you can put 7 different sizes of batteries, and I didn't want to use batteries. I wanted to use a power adapter, so I decided to go and start this little electronics project. I didn't need much. I just bought this from eBay, a power adapter, and I had a hard time finding an adapter that would give enough juice for the light, because the light sucked 2 amperes of DC current, and also it required between, if I'm not mistaken, between 7 and 9 volts. And I found this one that is right in the middle, 8 volts and 2 amperes. So I bought this one. I'm not really happy with it, but since I had such a hard time finding any that would be comparable with the specifications I needed, that will have to do. It's kind of flimsy. And it was cheap. It was $10. I think $11, but still. I wish I could have found a model that was a little more robust. I'm not sure if this thing's gonna last very long. You're gonna have to buy thick wires in order to be able to do this project. I went to Radio Shack and bought this 3-color set here, and it is a 20 gauge stranded wires for small electronics projects. So it's not going to be a big deal. If you can't find it there, Radio Shack, I think you can find it on any hardware store. You're going to have to cut 3 wires, 1 on each color, if you have 3 colors. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay a lot of attention as to not to make the wrong connection. And you're going to have to cut wires that are going to go to have about this size here, which is you have to cut like 8.5 inches of wires, and cut 1 of each color. Here it is, 3 wires cut on the same size, 8.5 inches. So now it's time to remove the plastic insulation here. Here's how you're supposed to remove it. It's like half a centimeter is the amount of plastic insulation you're gonna have to remove from each side. Now that you have the plastic cap removed, you have to open up like a fan. Open up each of the strands of the wire like this, and once you have it like that, you twist it like this. Okay, now that I have all the strands twisted, now it's time to use a small filing tool and remove a thin coat of varnish that comes on each strand of this copper wire. So if you don't remove this thin coat of varnish and you try to do the soldering, this solder is not gonna adhere to it, and you're gonna have a horrible time trying to make the soldering. So okay, the next thing you need to do is to buy a power jack like this. I bought it on Radio Shack. It's called a panel mount size N as in Nancy coaxial power jack, and this little thing here, and it has 3 terminals, and on the back it says tip size 5.5 millimeters by 2.5 millimeters. So, and accepts tip N as an AC. So you can look online for an equivalent that is cheaper, because I bought it on Radio Shack. I didn't want to wait, but it was pretty expensive, $3.69 each. One good thing about this bag from Radio Shack is the schematics on the back. And just so you know what awaits us ahead is that this terminal that goes in the center is we're going to connect it a red wire on it. We're going to solder the black wire on the top, and we're going to solder the green wire on the right side connector. On the bottom there are no connectors, so I'm going to open it up and show you how it is. Let's open it. Okay, here it is, pretty small, as you can see, and it has 3 connectors on the back here. Well, you can use a power jack that has just two terminals, one for positive and one for negative, but this one has this switch, like it says on the schematics on the back of the bag, and it can be pretty useful because, well, actually, when something is connected, the circuitry is going to receive electricity from the power adapter. But when you remove the plug, the electricity is going to come from the batteries on the back. So if you have batteries connected to your light and you want to plug the external power adapter, then if you don't have a 3-terminal power jack like this, you're going to have to remove the battery before you plug the power jack. But if you have a power jack like this one, you will be able to, as soon as you plug the power jack, it will switch off the battery, and the circuitry is going to receive electricity straight from the power adapter. Okay, so now that we have it out of the bag, what I need to do now is to prepare the terminals of this power jack for soldering. And so I have to use the filing tool to scratch the surface of each terminal on the front and also on the back of each terminal. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see it, but I thoroughly scratched the surface on both sides of each terminal, and this is the most important part of doing good soldering, is scratching the surface of the parts that need to be connected electrically, because if you don't do it well, then you have plenty of problems. If you do it well, then everything's going to go smoothly. Okay, so that's what you need to do. Okay, I'm gonna make a little confession for this project of mine. I used to have this soldering iron, and it's 25 watts soldering iron. Is supposed to be powerful enough for general electronic projects, but what I found out through experience is that just the wattage was not enough. I was having a hard time soldering stuff, and rule of thumb for electronic soldering is that you should not have to heat up a terminal longer than 5 seconds. It would take me like 10 seconds, 15 seconds to solder something, because this soldering iron would never produce enough heat for my requirements. So for this project, I indulged myself and bought a pretty good, it costed $20. I'm gonna say it's an indulgence because it's so cheap, but I bought a pretty good soldering iron from Radio Shack. This is one that has a little knob here on the bottom with adjustments So you can have it off 20 watts, 30 watts, 40 watts, up to 50 watts. So you can solder, have a soldering iron for a bunch of circumstances. And I found out that with it adjusted to 30 watts, it's plenty of heat for the projects I have been doing here, and I get perfect soldering, and it doesn't take very long for terminals to get hot and the solder to start melting. So if I were you, I would invest a little money and buy this $20 soldering iron from Radio Shack or something equivalent. Okay, I got this vice grip plier or locking plier, however you want to call it, and I'm ready to do the first soldering. Do it however you feel most comfortable with, but I'm going to show you the way I do it. Put the wire through it, and with a small plier I put pressure on it like this. So now it's almost ready to go. So now with my left hand I grab onto the solder, and with my right hand I grab the soldering iron. So now it's time to do the soldering. First you I tend to put both at the same time on the soldering to begin the melting. A little more. Now what you need to do is to melt completely the solder so it makes a perfect bubble, and when you do it you're sure to have made a perfectly good solder. Melt it completely. Okay, so as you can see it became a perfect bubble of solder. Already got hard. So now I'm gonna cut the excess wire, and it should be good. Okay, so let's do it. This is supposed to be the green wire. I try put the wire through the little hole here. Yeah, got it. Put a little pressure with a small plier, make the wire stay in place. So now it's time to do the soldering on this one as well. Now time to make a little bubble. Get it up, let it spread. Okay, perfect. Perfect shiny bubble. Let's solder the last terminal. First we melt a little bit of solder. Don't worry much about getting it all in a perfect shape. Just put enough there. Now it's time to heat everything up and let the solder flow. Okay. Now, as you can see here on the side, there's this excess wires here. Then I'm going to remove with a cutting plier. Okay. Okay. Now that I have removed all the excess wires, what I need to do is to put some sort of protection so I don't accidentally touch the two terminals while I'm putting, for example, them inside of the box and prevent any short circuit. I could have used electric tape, but they are pretty hard to deal with, so I'm gonna use normal Scotch tape. Okay, one is done, and I'm gonna have to do the same with the rest. Okay, now each wire was insulated. I put the Scotch tape on each terminal, so that's what you should do as well. I'm going to start up by unscrewing all the parts. This comes off. If this adapter is already plugged in, you have to just pull that way and take this out. So now what you need to do is to remove 4 screws, the first 4 screws, which are the ones on each one of the corners here. This black screw. And use a Phillips screwdriver. Let's do it. I just removed the 4 screws. They are here in the corner. Now let me take this away. Now it's time for me to remove the front part. These 4 screws are keeping the front part in place. So this is the part that's removed. Now you see all the LEDs. Put this away too. So now there are 4 more screws that you need to remove. Very tiny screws, the silver screws here in each of the corners inside. Okay, so you have to remove each of them, and I would advise you to get a smaller, good quality screwdriver, Phillips screwdrivers, because the screws are very small. So now it's time to remove the LEDs. It's nothing to be worried about that you're going to destroy the electronics by putting your hands on them. You're not supposed to be, putting your fingerprint in all of the electronics, but the LEDs are not very sensitive electronic equipment. So if you end up accidentally touching the terminals, it's not going to be a big deal. So the last 2 screws you're going to have to remove. These two very tiny screws here, Phillips screws. So my very small screwdriver still can remove these screws, and those are the last screws you're going to have to remove. They're very small. What you need to do now is remove this and put this to the side, because you unscrew and open all this stuff because you need to have access to this little corner here, because it is unused area of the box where we are going to put our power jack. Okay, now it's time to make the hole inside of the box so you can put the power jack inside. The hole we're going to make is going to be, when you open the box, is going to be on the bottom left corner, right here. It's going to be like a 1/4 of an inch from the right and a 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. That's where you're going to make the hole. And since now I have a spare soldering iron that I'm not using anymore, the 25 watts soldering iron, I'm going to use it to start the hole. So that's what I'm going to do. I scratched the surface here, made a little X to start making the hole, and don't worry too much if it is not exactly a 1/4 inch from the bottom and from the right, because even if it is out of the right position, this hole is going to grow. It has to be much larger than my soldering iron, and I'm going to use other tools to enlarge the hole, and I can use these tools to move the hole closer to the right position, either to the top or to the bottom or to the left or right. So let's do it. Here's my old soldering iron, and I'm gonna start the hole with the soldering iron. There we go. The beginning of the hole is here. Then I'm gonna start using all the tools to enlarge the hole until it fits project. This tool so I can do the final work on it. I know this thing's really messy, but that's the only annoying part of the project. Now the hole is complete. I just did the testing and it fits perfectly, so I'm gonna put it through the inside and screw it, and it's gonna start reassembling the whole thing. It has a hex and a washer, and they both are going to be coming from the outside. Let's just put this wires like this so I can fit it through the hole. Fits perfectly. Now I put the washer and the hex on the outside and screw it in. Okay. Now that it's in place, I'm just tightening it up. Okay, pretty firm. Now it's time to put this little board back into place. Remembering to see that the LEDs, the 4 LEDs, have to be going through these holes on the back in order for this board to be properly screwed back. And the wires here on the inside, they're gonna go backwards like this, and the board's going to be placed like this. Okay, so I'm gonna have to screw there's 2 screws here, one here and one here. So let me see if I can find the holes. So, oops. Okay, I think I got it. And once you have one inside, the other one is going to be easier. Okay, so I have everything, this little board screwed in. You're supposed to put the red or the positive, solder it here, and you have to solder the black wire the black wire is supposed to be soldered here. Has to be soldered here. So, and the green wire is supposed to be soldered here. So what I'm going to do is get this wire that connects here, where it says V, and goes to the negative terminal for the batteries, and we're going to cut this wire in the middle, and I'm going to solder this wire to the black wire, the end that goes that way, and the other end of the wire I'm going to solder with the green, comes from the power jack. Okay, as I said, I cut this wire in the middle, and I removed the plastic cover from it. I did open the strands and twisted them like I did with the other wires, and I used the filing tool to remove the varnish from each strand of copper wire. So now I'm ready and to do the first soldering. I connected the wire that comes from the batteries. I connected it to the green wire, but just as a safety precaution, I gotta post it. I put it underneath the wires, so if there is any drop of water of solder, it's not gonna fall on the circuitry on the bottom. So let's do the soldering. It's supposed to be simple and fast. Okay, this solder was not perfect because the wires are not very close. See on the other side, so I should spin it around. Yeah, and put a little more solder on this side and see if I can make a perfect solder here. Okay, now I'm happier with the solder because the drop of solder is enveloping the wires on both sides. I really cut all the excess, and now I'm going to put the tape. Now it's time to solder this other wire that is going here to this part of the board, with the black wire is coming from the power jack. So let me put the paper again, just to prevent any drop of solder. Okay. Now a little bit of soldering on both sides should do the trick. This one is much better. Okay. So this one had a much better soldering. I just need to cut the excess wire and that's it. Just make sure that the light is turned off. It's off. Now I will plug the power adapter there. Everything should work fine, and it works fine. Works perfectly. Okay, so now you tuck the wires to the side like this. Put them on the side around here, so they're not going to cause any trouble when you reassemble the box. Okay, let's see how it goes. First thing that has to go is this plastic part here, and this holes here on the side. You see these holes here on the side? They're gonna have to fit here, if you can see. Fit here around this place where the screws are gonna go. Okay, but they have to fit on all four corners. So I'll space it out from this. Oh, just this thing's twisted, so I'll twist it, and then I'll have enough room to maneuver it. I tried to put this thing in place with the LEDs, and it was much harder, so I feel like it's much easier to first put the black thing into place, then slowly bring down the LED board. Okay, now this thing is appropriately set down into place. We get the larger silver screws and start screwing the stuff in. Finally, this last one, everything's tightened. So now the last part, put in the cover. Okay, this is the last part. Remember, this tip here is supposed to go upwards. Let's put it like this. And now you just get the black screws and put one on each corner. Okay, so now it's time to put this adapter, just so you don't lose it, and also it protects the hole from dust. And this goes here. You're not going to use batteries because you already have a power adapter. Okay, so perfect, working. And with your new power jack, now that everything is assembled, do a final test. This thing is very powerful, it's just blinding. And it's nice, it has an adjustment, and now it has a power adapter, and as you can see, there's no battery. It's using the power jack to power up the lights.